Bar graphs or charts are a way of showing data with bars of different heights. And they have an x-axis, which is the one that's going horizontal, and a y-axis, the one that's vertical. And typically the x-axis has numbers for the time period or what is being measured, and the y-axis has numbers for the amount of stuff being measured. And bar graphs are really good when you're plotting data that spans either many years or days or weeks. If it has really big changes from year to year or day to day, or when you're comparing things. So let's look at an example of a bar graph. This particular bar graph is talking about recycling newspapers. And in this school we have 5 different classes who had collected newspapers to be recycled. So on the left-hand side, going up the y-axis, I see the pounds of newspaper, and going across the bottom on the horizontal axis, I see the classes. So my first question says, are the numbers on the scale counting by 20s, 30s, 40s, or 50s? So I'm actually looking at these numbers going up this scale, and I need to determine by what they are counting. Well, I see that they all have a 0 at the end, so let's ignore that 0 for a second. And if I do, then I see 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. And by knowing my basic multiplication facts, I know those are my 4s. So in that case, I would know that I'm counting by 40s. All right, the next one. Do the horizontal lines show increments of 20, 30s, 40s, or 50s? So they're talking about every single line. Well, I know that every other line was 40 and then 80. So those were all 40s. So halfway between the 0 and the 40 would be 20. So if this were 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, then I know that my horizontal lines are showing increments of 20s. All right, number 3 says, which class recycled the most newspapers? Now, the one really neat thing about bar graphs is it's real easy to see most or least, because most would be the tallest bar, and that would be this one right here, representing 320. So which class is that? That is Miss Scott's. So Miss Scott's class collected the most. All right, and then my last question, how many pounds of newspaper were recycled in all? My keywords in all mean that I'm going to take all of those and I'm going to add them together. So I would take my 270 plus the 310 plus the 250 plus the 320 plus the 200, and I would need to add all of those together. And once I did that, I would get 1,350, and we're talking pounds, so I need to make sure that I'm identifying that, pounds.